Hi, I have a message today called Infinite Patience. So here's the short version. Do not reserve any special part of you for pain. Notice yourself projecting templates upon the ones you call other. Infinite patience is your actual patience, which you can begin to see in everyone and everything. Then I was given a soundtrack for the message, Reunited by Peaches and Herb. When you see something going wrong in your mind's eye, recognize that as a reflex you can drop out of. When you catch yourself believing that something has already gone wrong, it's the same opportunity. So, back to do not reserve any special part of you for pain. That can be physical pain, that can be emotional pain. So we can catch the anticipation of pain if we're thinking about something as someone and we observe a point of interface with that someone and we believe we see pain there or wrongdoing or wrongness or wrong orientation, neither us or the one we're calling other, we're trying to take a special little compartment of what we're perceiving and we're trying to reserve I gotta use the I language. I'm trying to reserve that for pain. It's a pattern. It's an addictive pattern. So it's repeated. In any addictive pattern we find safety and comfort in. So my attention is just drawn to this so I can observe the addictive pattern and interrupt it. And when I very patiently interrupt the addictive pattern, it just starts to fall apart because I'm using more effort to interrupt the pattern than I am to allow the pattern to continue. So do not reserve any special part of you for pain. Again, that's physical or emotional. Then if we look out there and we're looking out at someone else and we, number one, believe they are in pain, or believe that they are a cause of pain, we often perceive that we do have the time to pause and take a minute to look at that. Why am I locating pain in one I call another? Why am I locating wrongdoing or wrong orientation in one I call another? I'm tricking myself. I'm trying to look away from my experience of pain, and instead of dealing with that directly, I'm finding it somewhere else. Instead of looking at the fact that I believe I have done wrong, I'm pushing it out there and becoming preoccupied with the idea of it existing somewhere else. And you may be somebody who believes you see wrongdoing more often in yourself than in others, and you may be somebody who looks at it and thinks, I see wrongdoing more often in others than in myself. It doesn't matter. But when we're seeing it in others, we're avoiding finally facing, no, I think I'm the guilty party, but pushing it out there feels more comfortable for a while. So we don't have to reserve any special part of anyone or anything or ourselves for pain. Instead, we can be willing to look directly at the pain and have everything that results from that desired experience of pain. I cannot feel pain unless I desire the experience. I cannot see pain outwardly unless I desire that experience. So I can let everything that went into desiring and producing that experience for me to have, I can allow all of that to be undone, and there's where my focus can be. Notice yourself projecting templates upon the ones you call other. And I do. So if I think I know who you are, what your characteristics are, what you're likely to do, what you're not likely to do, there's my template for you. It's a structure I built out of thought, and I have beliefs about you, and I have expectations of you. And if you should fail to meet what I would call my positive expectations, the way I've decided that you're good instead of bad, I'll be disappointed in you, and I'll blame you. And if you should fail to meet my negative expectations, I took some of my pain and I put it over there in you in the form of negative expectations. And you keep proving it to me by showing up in a way ego says I don't like. And so look at all this that we built up, and we project these templates upon each other, so we can see how we're imprisoning the other in our perception, defining them narrowly within these expectations, and then having emotional reactions to that. Even if you don't consider yourself to be emotional, that's a denial, because we can't, that's for me to see, because we can't, in myself, perceive time and space without being emotional. It's a temper tantrum. Time and space is a temper tantrum. And I have to pause because it looks more like that applies to someone else than it does to me. So I have to pause to bring it back home and not think, I'm just saying this for someone else. That is not the truth. No. So I have to pause to bring that back home. If I try to put the idea of being emotional out there in someone else, I can just recognize my full-on temper tantrum today as mine and not give it to anyone else. If I'm playing the game, I don't know if you've seen The Big Lebowski and you've seen the scene where John Goodman says, calmer than you, dude. I'm calmer than you, dude. You'll know what I'm talking about. We do that. We find some special value in ourselves because it appears we're calmer than somebody else. And it's always a trick we're playing on ourselves. 100% of the time, not 99% of the time. So if I can face my full-on perceptual temper tantrum I'm having head on, no matter how mild the disturbance seems to be to me, that brings... Oh, this is called infinite patience, and I was just going to say that brings immediate results. For infinite patience is the true nature of everyone and everything, but we've covered it up, and we certainly don't see it in ourselves. But if I'm seeing my separate self as more patient than your separate self, I'm barking up the wrong tree, but there's help for me. You have infinite patience because I do. I have infinite patience because you do. And if I'm seeing something else, it's only because it's like I turned the channel to a soap opera and I wanted to see something that could represent something that is not infinite patience. So there we are. And we can take some time and sit in it and look at it and not find difference between the separate selves because that's the trick I fall into again and again. Okay, infinite patience. I don't even know where I was. I don't know if I was on the second statement and I just went into infinite patience territory, or if I was on the third statement. So I'll do the third statement because I know I said the second one. Infinite patience is your actual patience, which you can begin to see in everyone and everything. So that's my invitation. And it's an invitation that never ends. And sometimes instead of saying yes to an invitation, I'll have a perceptual temper tantrum. So there's this option. You can say yes to the ever-present invitation to look through the fiction. To look through the fiction of what I projected on everyone and everything, anyone or anything. And I can be willing to see this infinite patience alive as the reality. That's more real than the template I put upon you. Or I can keep doing what I've been doing if that makes me happy. But we know it doesn't. It doesn't. Having a perceptual temper tantrum does not make me happy and never will. But pausing and finding my willingness to see infinite patience as equally shared. And that applies to objects. That's the funny part of it. It applies to objects, to anything I would see as separate. And then the other part of that is infinite patience produces immediate results. And that's a quote from A Course in Miracles. I don't know if it's from other places too. Sometimes what's in the Course is also in the Bible. I don't know about that, but I do know it's in A Course in Miracles. That's kind of what echoed through this message. But our focus isn't on the results. It's on allowing the undoing in my mind of these structures I've been clinging to, allowing those to be washed away, and allowing what is here and what always has been here to be revealed. Okay, it was this point that I started hearing Reunited by Peaches and Herb. So I listened to the song. It's a love song, but if we look at it through the idea of being not romantic bodily love, but being reunited, letting the perceptual temper tantrum go, and being reunited and seeing the true self of everyone in everyone without any exceptions, that can reflect that back. When you see something going wrong in your mind's eye, recognize that as a reflex you can drop out of. So that's one of these repetitive things. To something will seem to trigger us, and then got to get close to home and use I language. Then I define it as something is going wrong right now. I see that something is going wrong, and with observation, looking at things and being aware, I can see that's a reflex to define what seems to be happening as something going wrong. And in that moment, I can stop and remember anything at all, but what I'm using today is, something focusing, something that seems true, something that seems calming. What I'm using today is, I have given everything I see all the meaning it has for me. So if I can come out of my dream and remember, I'm the one pasting meaning on top of things that I call separate. I'm doing it, no one else is. Just to clear this up, because I sometimes post these in A Course in Miracles groups, not that it probably matters, but this particular message outline I received yesterday, and I'm doing the lessons, the calendar lessons. So yesterday it was, nothing I see in this room, in this place, on the street means anything. That's what I was meditating on when I received this outline. And then today, it's the next day, and what I'm focusing on today is I have given everything I see all the meaning that it has for me. So there are those two things. I tend to think all the lessons are the same lesson, but just for the sake of clarity, if there's any to be had, that's why there are these two things here. Okay. When you see something going wrong in your mind's eye, recognize that as a reflex you can drop out of. So let's say we're reading in a Facebook discussion group, and it looks as if two people are having a disagreement. So I could sit there and say that something's going wrong. Or I can have a holy encounter with both people who seem to be involved in the disagreement. How do you have a holy encounter? You look at someone, you think of someone, and you find the willingness in your heart to see the infinite patience that's true about them. And it's not like you're trying to make anything in particular happen, like you're trying to stop anything in particular in the dream, or you're trying to start or make appear anything in particular in the dream. But I can find my willingness to see, well, I may have pasted this poster of a drama on top of these two divine siblings, but what's real about them? The infinite patience they share, their the calm that's at the core of them, their happiness that I can see and Spirit can show me as I stop and focus and ask to see what's here behind what I'm projecting. Then I get shown, and that's beautiful, and then I feel gratitude. So it might look on the surface as if there are two people and they're arguing, but when I stop and ask Spirit to show me, I always get shown something very beautiful, and I can feel genuine gratitude. I can see how I can stop more often to do this, and I'm sure the motivation will expand, because it certainly feels so much better than believing two people are arguing. and I have to do something about it, not necessarily in a Facebook group, but maybe if you're the moderator. But in another situation, that tension can creep up if you think there's a disagreement in your immediate physical vicinity. And I've experienced this in the grocery store. It sounds like in the background someone's voice is getting tense with someone else, maybe a parent with a child, and I'll start feeling very panicky and thinking, oh no, nothing can go wrong. It's, oh no, that I have to calm down. Nothing terrible's ever happened. It always does calm down. So there we go. We can apply this on Facebook. We can apply this in the grocery store. All right, when you catch yourself believing that something has already gone wrong, the past is over, it can touch me not. It's the same opportunity. So if a perception of the past and any emotions attached to that have surfaced, it's just what's on my desk now. It's sitting there on my desk, and it's time to go to work. It's my assignment. I need to look at it, and I can see it differently, and Spirit can show me. And the more and more we go through this slowly and carefully and with patience, the more and more it's easier, and then we get to see, oh, this perception of a past doesn't need to haunt me anymore. Right now, Spirit can help me look through it and see what has been here the whole time. So I'm just going to take a moment and let myself be shown. And when we see what's really here, that's when we start to bring reflections of what's really here into our apparent now experience. And when we want to see what's really here, that's when in our apparent now experience, we see very direct reflections of what's really present within everyone and everything that we meet or interact with. And then this gratitude is very easy to access, very easy to rest in, very easy to allow to expand. So when you catch yourself believing that something has already gone wrong, it's the same opportunity. That's why nothing's more important than noticing how I feel. I can conceptualize about stuff all day long, but my feeling tells me when there's work on my desk. And when there's work on my desk, I need to just go to work and do it and clear my desk until another assignment gets put on my desk. It's very simple. If I let the assignments build up, I feel worse and worse and worse. And eventually I have to go clear my desk. So I might as well do it one assignment at a time, slowly, patiently. No one's pressuring me. The only thing I can do is pressure myself with the thoughts I believe. I can go slowly, I can go carefully, and there's all the love in the world here for all of us as we notice we have an opportunity. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you for listening, and happy healing. Happy patience.